or unwanted thought comes to us, we can decide to change it. Say no. Yeah, I'm Nancy up here. Just say no to that negative thought. Well, that's the beginning. Say no to the negative thought. Say yes to something positive. And finally, then, on this track of responsibility, I'm responsible for my beliefs. Because this is where the thought comes from. I believe something. I'm responsible for my beliefs. They are the origins of my thoughts. So somewhere, a long time ago, I got the belief that I'm alone. Somewhere, a long time ago, we got the belief that each one of us are separate bodies, apart from each other, living alone in a dangerous world. And it was before you remember. We got this belief that grew and reproduced itself in a variety of other beliefs that really are just reflections of the original belief. Now, in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, it gives us a metaphorical story about this time when this particular event happened. And it clearly shows us how this belief system began and what happened as a result of it. And here's what happened. In the story, and it's an allegory, okay? It's a story. It's a story that is meant to teach a lesson, to illustrate a point that may be actually beyond, the real point may be beyond our ability to really understand it today. But the story is that Adam and Eve are in the garden. And everything is provided, and everything is in harmony, and there's no problem whatsoever. Everything is going very well. And God, and it says God walked with them in the cool of the evening. I mean, it's beautiful. But it is a story trying to explain this event that happened to us. And God says to them, it's all yours. In the garden, you can eat of all of the fruit. Everything that grows here, you can eat everything except for the one thing. Well, what you can't eat is the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This is the tree that you can't sample. So think about how all that goes. The fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And he says something, and by the way, he says something that, if you take the Bible literally, he says something that then turns out to be a lie. Now, I'm thinking that God probably is not lying to anybody, right? So he says, if you eat of it, you shall surely die. Well, it turns out, this is the apple incident. So then what happens is, of course, this is kind of intriguing, this idea in the story. And Eve is checking the tree out, sees the fruit. It's not necessarily an apple, by the way. It doesn't say that. And then there's the serpent. And the serpent says, go ahead, taste it. It's okay. Oh, Eve says, no, God says we eat the tree, we're going to die. And the serpent says, you won't die. Go ahead, check it out. And so she eats. And then she gives it to Adam. And he eats. And instantly, they become, and the story says, they become aware that they're naked. How else would they be? They become aware that they're naked, and for some odd reason. And again, this is just a symbol for the idea of their bodies. They become aware that they are bodies. They are bodies separate from, and then there's guilt, and so they hide from God. And God's coming for his evening walk, and he says, where are you at? What's happening? Where'd you go? They're hiding. Now, okay, so yeah, I don't know how you hide from God, but see, it's a story. So they're hiding. And then finally they answer and they say, we're hiding because we were ashamed. And God says, well, what, you're ashamed? What for? And he said, because we're naked. And God says, who told you were naked? We ate of the fruit of the tree. And God says, oh, he says, you ate of the fruit of the tree. And Adam immediately goes, it was her. This is the woman. She did it. She gave it to me. And the woman goes, oh, it was the serpent. It was the serpent that did it. And God says, oh, man. Now, and it's always portrayed and it's always interpreted as like God's like really mad about the whole thing. He's not mad. He's sad. Because now there's a separation. Whereas before the consumption of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, everything was one. Everything was operating in harmony. There was no conflict. There was no duality. There was no you, there was no me, there was just we. And so this is the event. This is the symbolic event where this belief system started. And what God says in his sadness to them is now, hey, now you got to leave the garden. You left the garden. And what's going to happen, he says to Adam, he says, you're going to have to work the ground. And it's not going to give up its resources very easily to you. This is going to be tough going from now on. Whereas before, everything was in harmony. Everything is they are part of the unity of all life. Everything is coming very smoothly. Now it's a struggle. Now it's a threat. And he says to Eve, this is what's going to happen to you. You are going to suffer bearing your children, and you are and then he talks about the love that she's going to bear that she is going to have for them, and that the implication is, and your heart's going to be broken. You know why? You know how, well, I'll just say how some mothers are. They do a lot of stuff. They might get involved in a lot of sacrifice, and then when their children don't actually do what they think they ought to do, then there's that whole thing about after everything that I've done for you, even if you don't say it out loud, right? Here's all I've done. You treat me like this. So then, see, I'm going to say another thing about how he's not mad. He's not mad. So what does he do? He makes little clothes for them. Go read it. He makes little outfits for them and says, here, put these on. Go on out of here. So he's not mad. He says, until you return to me, you'll have suffering. So we think we're banished, but it's just that we haven't returned. And so this belief system grows out of this idea that we are separate from one another. Our beliefs, and if you examine your mind and your thinking, you will see it seems as if we are thinking a whole bunch of different thoughts, but they're all really just looping back. They're all really very similar thoughts that keep looping back. And so we think about this belief system that has us thinking fearful thoughts, feeling angry, feeling fear, and then has us reacting in the world. This belief system is like, if you think of a ball of yarn that has got all knotted up and all twisted around and everything like that. And this is, you can just visualize this, it's your thought traveling on this string. And it loops here, and it loops there, and it all stays inside. You may seem to move very close out to the outside of the ball, but you always are looping around and through and staying in there. So this practice, this mystical practice that we're on, is a practice where we start untying the knots in our thinking. So this belief that we got from eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil has grown and reproduced itself in a variety of other beliefs that really reflect the original belief. We believe in the ultimate isolation of life. We believe in lack. We believe that there's not enough. Not only do we believe that there's not enough, we believe that what we have is going to be taken from us. We have believed that we are less than. We have believed in the unreliability of God to care for us. These are erroneous beliefs. One of the tweets I sent out last week was, erroneous thinking mistakes the world. Yesterday, I think I said our thoughts, the color of our thoughts paint the world. This is what's going on. Our thinking, this belief system is just a thought system, and it can be changed. From now on,